G'day guys, hey, just here with Steve Otto, and we're just going to quickly run through the gear we used at our recent fishing trip to Somerset Dam. Do you want to just talk us through a bit of the gear that you use at Somerset and I guess generally targeting bass in dams?
Just for a start, just the easiest way to catch fish that we've talked about before is to just troll hard body lures. Most dams you'll need them to get down, say 7 to 10 metres. Some dams you can use like a 3-4 metre.
Yep.
Depending where the fish are hanging at the time. That's the easiest way. Yeah, if you cover enough ground with those lures, something's got to hit eventually.
Yeah.
You just got to keep those lures at the right depth. I try and keep the lure. If a lure dives to 8 metres, I'll troll in 8 metres of water. So your lure's close to the bottom, just sneaking along the bottom like this, stirring up a bit of mud, and that's the most effective way of catching them. I troll and cast everything on braided line, just with say 8-pound line with 12-pound leader. Sometimes I might go a bit lighter on the plastics. Another thing we use, if the fish are up tight on the edges or close to the edges on weed or rock walls, we use a TN60. It's got a bit of a rattle in it. It's a sinking lure, cast it to the bank, wind it back to the boat. Bass love them, yellow belly. If the fish are really deep, close to the bottom, we'll use these Twisties, which is basically just a metal slice. Looks like a bait fish. It can be used mid-water, close to the bottom, fast retrieve, slow retrieve, hops, drops, however you want.
Yep.
There's no rules. That's a bigger version. So if the bait fish are a bit bigger at the time, we'll just use a bit bigger lure, slower fall. And if it's a bit of a tough bite, we'll use the plastics. Different colours work good. Different jig heads for whatever depth you want to work them at, 30 feet, 10 feet. So that's basically it.
Perfect.
You've only got one single hook on that TN60. Do you only fish with the single hook on the belly?
I do. If I'm in open water or no weed or chance of a snag, I'll use the trebles that come with the lure.
Yeah.
But if I'm casting to weed, around timber, I'll use this single. What happens is you throw into the weed and the hook will just ride over the top of the weed, so it won't catch. If you do get a little bit, you can rip it and the weed will come off and you're back to fishing again.
Yeah, right.
That's why it's so, again, like I said, in Pneumatic Dam, it was so cool because normally you get a, trolling a lure like that, through there, snagging everywhere. But with those single hooks, it's gold.
Yeah.
And Steve, when I went out there, I just took a 1,000 or a 2,000 series reel with about 8 to 10 pound braid. Is that what you find in the dams? I mean,
I do, Daz. I use a 2,500 generally for the faster retrieve lures, and I'll go back to 1,000 size reel if I want to wind really slowly. That helps me to wind slowly, so I can just keep it pulsing along in their face. Yeah.
And for most people fishing the dams, what, like an 8 to 10 pound braid's okay, or a timber maybe slightly heavier?
Yeah, 8 to 10 in open water, even down to 6 in open water. Up in timber, I'll go to 10 with maybe 15, 20 pound leader, because if they're like a mangrove jack, if they get a chance, they'll go straight back to their snag.
And especially if you hook one of those big yellows up there or something, they can run you around a bit too, can't they?
Yeah, they'll tend to, if there's a snag nearby, sometimes you just can't stop them, they'll just go straight for it. So.
Out on the dam, the lures and gear that I mostly use were, again, with Steve's advice. I guess I went down to Barrajacks on the sunny coast there because Steve said load up on lures and I need no excuses to go and buy more lures. So I went down there. I got a couple of these smack lures. These, I believe, dive about 5 metres, Golden Childs they're called. This is a Brolga, and they work really, really well trolling down that right depth. So I grabbed a couple of those. I grabbed a, what's this one? A Blitz Bagger, that's another smack lure. I don't think we tied this on. It wasn't that deep where we fished, was it,
They
from
didn't
memory?
like that colour on the day. They preferred the darker and golder colours.
Yeah.
So that's why we use that one.
Switch there. And then, again, using these spoons, which is, again, something I'd never done before, so that was quite cool. We used the TT blades, and also over by that rock wall, we used the jackals. And again, retrofitting these hooks such a good idea, and it's made my fishing so much easier here at Uwe. Rods and reels, I was just using a Stratic 2.5 on. I've found these, I know they're old, but I've started using the Shimano Raider rods. I reckon they're a great match with those little Stratics. They were really good, so that was me.
Yeah, those Raider rods are great kid rods too. They're pretty unbreakable, nearly.
There's levels. There's levels.
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, those Raider rods are good and really good for kids as well. You know, like they're not super expensive, but they are a good, reliable rod. I used in the dam rods and reels like a 2 to 4 kilo. I only had like about a 1,000, both a sustain and a Stratic CI4 with about 8-pound braid on those. Lure wise. Used all the same lures those guys said, but the ones I had success on was the 8-metre polygus, and I think that was just because it was getting down to the right depth. The other lures that the kids were using weren't quite as deep as that one, and once we switched to that, we were getting a few.
Double hookup.
Around the snags and rocks, I got a fish on the jackal, and I hooked a big, reasonable sized bass and lost on the same lure that Caden got his big bass on, which is that smack lure there. That colour there was really good. I lost a big one and Caden got his good one on it, so they definitely were working. That's probably what I used out there mostly.
Once you find the fish, you know, you can try your ice jigs, your spoons, your blades, your jackals, or you can throw jackals to the edge, or if that's not working, just troll them through like I did the other day. Found the school. They weren't responding to much, so troll through and boom, there you go. And I guess one last thing, you know, I love to be comfortable in camping. I saw, you know, Dazza at 9 o'clock at night setting up his tent. I took out the hardcore camper, and it was so good to have a kitchen, a nice tent. We had a tent down beneath the fold-out tent for the kids, and we had lights, we had a place for the esky, so it was just really nice instead of, you know, the old tent, to have something you could pack all the gear and have it all there in one spot.